Hey, we're on chapter 8, section 1, which is journal page 170. And here we go. Find the diameter of the circle. Well, we've got some formulas that we're going to use. And for diameter equals 2 times the radius. Radius is the diameter divided by 2. Okay? Remember, radius is halfway across the circle from the center to the outside. Diameter is all the way across the circle through the center. So this says, find the diameter of the circle. Well, if it's 9 inches halfway across the circle, 9 times 2 equals 18 inches to go all the way across the circle. For number 2, we're looking for the radius of the circle. Well, if it's 12 all the way across the circle, 12 divided by 2 would give us 6 inches going just halfway across the circle. You don't have to show these formulas for this, just doubling the radius to get the diameter or having the diameter to get the radius. But if you want to, you can. Number 3. Find the circumference of the circle. Now remember, we're going to solve in terms of pi. So circumference equals 2 pi radius. And we always start by writing the formula here. Circumference equals 2 pi r. Well, 2 is 2 and pi is pi. But the radius is what we need, and they give us the diameter of 20. We know that means the radius is 10. And now we simplify this. 2 times 10 is 20 pi, so just 20 pi. Circumference equals 20 pi centimeters. We're not going to multiply by 3.14. If we were to do so, it would be a good approximation, or at least an approximation. We're going to just leave it in terms of pi. Number 4, we start the same way. Circumference equals 2 pi r. And 2 pi, those just come down. And the radius here, they give us the radius is 14. Put that in for the radius. 2 times 14 is 28. Circumference equals 28. And don't forget the pi. It's important that you don't forget that. Your answer is way off without it. 28 pi inches. Number 5. Circumference equals 2 pi r, 2 pi, and the radius here, if all the way across is 8, then the radius, which is halfway across, would be 4.
Please excuse the interruption. If we could release all of the boys basketball players who are traveling today. Thank you.
So 2 pi 4, 2 times 4 is 8, so we have 8 pi, and for number 5, that's feet. Now we get to these semicircles. So let's look at those. I'm going to put number 6 up here. We'll start by finding the circumference again. So circumference equals 2 pi r. 2 and pi. The radius here, if it's 5 all the way across here, that'd be the diameter if this were a whole circle. We only want half of that, 2.5. And 2 times 2.5 is 5, so the circumference is 5 pi. However, we aren't going all the way around the circle. We're only going halfway around the circle. So if that's the circumference, we want half the circumference, and that would be half of this, which is 2.5 pi. Well, that gets us from here all the way over to here. But we know if we want perimeter, we have to go all around the whole shape. We need to get back, which is another 5. So the perimeter equals 2.5 pi. That's halfway around the circle, plus 5. And I cannot add those two. This is a pi term. This is a constant. So these are unlike terms. The units is inches, but because I have 2 terms here, I put those in parentheses, and I put inches afterwards. If I didn't put the parentheses here, the inches would only apply to the 5, and it would not apply to the 2.5 pi. So make sure you put those parentheses in. Number 7. Same kind of problem, so we'll do circumference equals 2 pi r. 2 pi, 21 all the way across, so half of that would be 10.5. circumference equals 2 times 10.5 is 21 pi. Now we don't want the whole circumference. We only want half the circumference. So half the circumference is half of this, which we're back to 10.5 pi. So that gets us halfway around this circle, but we're left over here. We got to get back, so we have to add that 21 in. So the perimeter equals that half circumference, 10.5 pi, plus 21. We put that in parentheses, and we put the units afterwards, feet. Last problem, a simple impact crater on the moon has a diameter of 15 kilometers. A complex impact crater has a radius of 15 kilometers. How much greater is the circumference of the complex impact crater than the simple impact crater? Yikes. Well, we'll find their circumferences and we'll subtract them to find how much bigger it is. So the diameter is 15 kilometers. So let's draw this out here. Simple, here's the simple, and all the way across is 15. And then for the complex, half radius, so half the way across is 30 kilometers. So let's find the circumference of the simple. So circumference, and then I'll put a little, it's called a subscript down here, just to tell me that's for the simple. Circumference of the simple equals 2 pi r of the simple, radius of the simple crater. The radius is only half of this, so it was 15 kilometers all the way across. It will only be 7.5. So 2 pi 7.5, which is 15 pi kilometers. So the circumference of the simple is 15 pi kilometers. The circumference of the complex is 2 pi radius of the complex. 2 pi, the radius is 30. So 2 times 30 is 60 pi kilometers. That was the circumference of the complex. To find out the difference here, we can subtract these. 60 pi minus 15 pi equals 45 pi. Remember, we're treating pi like a variable here. So pi minus pi doesn't cancel out. This is 60 pi minus 15 pi to leave us with 45 pi kilometers. That's the difference. Excellent. Have a fantastic night. If you have any questions, make sure you're asking in class. See ya!